brought up the idea of Kickstarter, or is that something in your mind? And right now, you're living in Tuscaloosa, and are you around a whole bunch of other artists? Is there an artist community? Are you collaborating and sharing ideas, or are you?
Yes and no. There were a couple of artists in town that I worked with, like Tony Brock, a guy in Tuscaloosa, had a group show that he invited me to do based on music. And so I did that, but not really.
Is there an art community?
Yeah, there is. I mean, there is, but it's very traditional. It's not very, I guess, illustration heavy. I don't know if what I really do is, I'm somewhere like in between fine art and illustration. No. So like we got along, like we were friends, but we didn't really collaborate on anything. So I mean, Birmingham, I talked with a couple of artists about it, but it was an hour away, and we didn't really, do it. So.
Is not much of a market? Are there galleries there?
There are, but they're still very like traditional. So, I did okay with college students at the various like art festivals and stuff, but like I said, we didn't really like mesh culturally, like in our values and aesthetic and stuff like that.
Sure.
I didn't do football paintings, basically.
Oh man, for real, because that's what I get that a lot from kids. They're like, "Can you do LSU logo?" I'm like, "Come on, man, that's just a tiger. Come on, draw it yourself, do something." And I hear that a whole lot of sports stuff. So, Kickstarter, how that idea come about? Who did somebody say that to you? You should do Kickstarter.
I actually heard about it at DragonCon. I was putting my stuff in the art show, and I still do. Like I do it every year, and I go to all the art panels because I'm always trying to like learn from artists that are better than me.
Sure.
And someone mentioned Kickstarter. I'd never heard of it before, so I went home and I looked it up, and I was just like, this is really awesome. What a time to be alive. This is amazing. And I still think it like blows my mind that something like this exists and that it actually works in favor of content creators. So, I had this idea to do just the major arcana section of the tarot deck. And I didn't think it was going to get funded.
What was your goal?
Well, initially my goal was like $1,500. And I forgot to factor in shipping. So I had to switch it. I think my original goal for the major arcana was like $5,000. I was like, there's no way that anyone is ever going to give me this much money. And I got funded in like 5 days. And I couldn't believe it. Like, I literally cried.
Wow.
Like, I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. But, and that helped me, like, raise the funds to create a deck, which I can then sell for cheaper than I would have to, like, if I had just had to pay out of pocket, which I didn't have any money in my pocket to pay with.
Right.
And it opened me up to, like, this whole another, like, community, I guess, that I wouldn't have access to unless I had, put myself on this crowdfunding platform. So,
did you have a lot of contacts on Facebook and social media when you first started that Kickstarter, or?
I did on Tumblr. Basically what I did is I had a small following on Tumblr, and like people have just followed my art throughout the years from when I was on DeviantArt and stuff, my friends and family. And I basically like did a giveaway. It was just like, if I get funded, I'm going to give away a bunch of decks. So like share this to enter the giveaway. And it got a bunch of like reblogs and notes and stuff. And it just sort of snowballed.
Yes.
So
that's very nice. Well, that's good. And so you were able to do this carrot deck. And where does the name Skull Garden come from? And what does that mean to you?
I went through a lot of different names, like trying to figure out what I wanted to call my website, my username and stuff. And I went through a lot of names that I thought were cool but were already taken. And
that's how it goes.
I like skulls, obviously. I want that to be like a central theme in my art. And a garden, it implies more than just, a couple of flowers. I think it implies any sort of thing that sort of can grow on its own, left or sort of, manicured and shaped in a way. And it kind of sounded good, Skull Garden. So somebody had skullgarden.com, so I went skullgarden.net.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't taken on,
right.
on like Tumblr or Facebook. So I'm like, there we go. There it is.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
so somebody has a .com website right now.
yeah, they try to sell it to me.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
but they're not doing anything with it. Oh, they just thought it was a cool
it.
name.
Yeah.
They thought it was a cool name. Got it. These are awesome. I don't know anything about tarot cards, but there's 79 of them.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally in a deck there's 78, but I added a Happy Squirrel card, which is it's a reference to a Simpson episode. So
okay, dang, this is nice, man.
Thank you.
This is good work. How long did it take you to draw all of these? Do you know?
Well, I split the deck up into 2 years basically. I did the Major Arcana, which is like the traditional like Death and the Devil and the Emperor and all the cards that people know, and I did that. And then the next year, I ran another Kickstarter to get the whole deck printed.
Okay.
All in one in one deck, like you have in your hands now. So I guess like actual active drawing, painting, work on the deck probably around 6 to 8 months.
It's really good work, man. It's really nice. So, what are your mediums here on this card?
Those are also acrylic, colored pencil, and gouache on wood panels. And
where did you learn how to do that?
The hard way. The hard way. I did a lot of paintings on canvas and stuff, you know, just like acrylic paintings on canvas. And I went to Lowe's to get some clear pine to stretch a canvas around, and I was looking at the plywood. And I was like, that is really cool. That's a cool grain. I should get some of this and do a painting on it. So I took it home, and I did like this albino deer with a third eye, and it had like flowers coming out of his antlers, and I had a bunch of eyes over it, and like I finished it in a day, and it was like a 2x4 painting, and I was just like, that's it. That's what I want to do. Like that's I had like one of those aha moments. Like, previously I'd just been doing like commission work, and I'd been doing pet portraits and stuff, and it was fun, but I don't know, like, I didn't have that, like, distinct, like, brand or style or anything. I was just kind of, you know, doing it. And then I did that one painting, and I was just like, that's it. And then a couple months later, I came up with Skull Garden, and I kind of really was able to focus everything, and, like, distill it down to, this is the aesthetic that I want. This is the kind of work that I want to do. I didn't know if there was a market for it, but at that point, I didn't really care. I was just, like, obsessed with doing this kind of work. And,
that's what you want. These each card it was a painting.
Yeah,
it was an actual painting on wood.
Yeah,
and so a wood grain that we see on the cards is the actual wood grain from the wood that you use to paint each piece.
Yeah, I just
it's not Photoshop.
No, I mean I did some editing. I had to change the format of the cards because the paintings were 6x8. And like the aspect ratio of those is much longer, so I had to edit them. But I mean, yeah, I just scanned it on a flatbed scanner and cleaned up, you know, where I painted outside of the lines a little, and then you know, get the cat hair stuff out of the picture. But yeah, I mean, that is what it is.
Nice. So 2 Kickstarters, and second Kickstarters to build up the whole carrot deck. The whole it's called what?
A tarot deck. Yeah.
A tarot deck.
Yeah.
And the first set was called the what?
It was also called the Wooden Tarot, which is what I call the tarot deck. It was just the Major Arcana, which is the first third or so of the deck with the really iconic cards like the Fool and stuff like that. And then you've got the Minor Arcana, which is the more like traditional suit of or deck of cards with like the suits and stuff.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So.
Nice.
I didn't know that there was a market for a full tarot deck. I just, you know, I thought the Major Arcana was cool and had, like, historical significance, so I did it. And then, like, just, like, huge, like, positive feedback for it. And everybody kept asking me every single day, multiple times a day, when are you going to do the Minor Arcana? So I just, you know, did it. You know, people wanted it, so I did it.
Nice.
And I'm really glad I did, because it really, I feel like that deck really helped me, continue to focus my art and, you know, obviously improve. You do 80-something paintings, you're going to get better.
That's right. Yes.
And then, and then when I finished it, I was like, I felt like a hole in my life. I had been working on this thing for 2 years, and I was just like, what do I do now? So, yeah, and I found that I really love doing, like, these projects that I have complete control over from start to finish, like from concept to finish, and it's like a euphoric feeling. You know, you get that new project high, but you just gotta like write it out, actually do the grind to finish it, and then when you finish it and you're holding the thing in your hand, it's just like, I made this.
That's right.
I did this, and it's really cool, and
nice.
I'm very fortunate and privileged to have people who like it. So
nice.
Yeah,
very good.
Pretty cool.
So we're online. Where do we find you?
I am on skullgarden.net. That's my website. I'm on Instagram as Skull Garden, but with 3 L's. So Skull Garden.
And that's because Skull Garden, the normal one, is taken?
Yeah. Nobody's using it. And I'm like,
Lord,
come on.
Yeah.
But, I'm also on Tumblr, also with Skull Garden. Though that's like not just art. I also do like, post like blog dumb stuff too. So, but I guess Instagram is really in my website. It's a place to find my art.
Your art. I think Tumblr is cool because if you put in more about yourself, you get to see the more complete person. Yeah, and that's a cool story to follow also. If you had some piece of advice for younger artists or artists coming up in the world, trying to leave their mark or trying to build a brand or something to your level, what would you say to them?
I would say, everybody says this, but just do a lot of work. When you're starting out, you have this idea of like what you want to do, but you can't connect the dots between the idea that you have in your head and then like the physical ability that you have, and it's so frustrating to not be able to get those two to meet. But just keep doing a lot of work, draw a lot of things that you don't like, and then you find out what you do. Don't compare yourself to other artists, even if you can think that they're better or worse than you, because you don't know where they started, how much work they've done, and I really feel like drawing and painting and stuff like that is more of a skill than it is a talent. I mean, you might have more of a head starting point than some people, but I mean, you still gotta do the grind to do it, and just do it.
This has been your Artist King podcast, and I am DTM of DeltaTangoMind.com, telling you to get out and learn so you can earn. Let go of the starving artist title and move into the thriving artist art life.